The moderators are becoming much more of the story because of the questions they're asking. However, how much of it is the moderator's fault and how much of it is the actual
I have two cuts on this
platform that they're actually having? Let's go to, we're going to check in with Stephen Roberts here. But first, let's hear what some of the candidates have to say.
We should have moderators who are interested in disseminating the information about the candidates as opposed to, gotcha.
How about we stop letting left-wing liberals moderate Republican debates?
Stephen Roberts, ABC News, good morning.
Good morning. I think Carson and Cruz could not be more wrong about this. Let's remember who it was who set the tone for the fall these debates. It was Megyn Kelly of Fox News. It wasn't left-wing liberals who were holding people to account. It was Megyn Kelly who asked Donald Trump about his attitudes toward women. These candidates, whether it's Ted Cruz or Ben Carson or anyone else, have dozens of chances every week to say exactly what they want. They can buy TV time. They can make speeches at rallies. They can issue tweets. They can do Facebook posts. These debates, the voters in St. Louis and everywhere else need to require the information and need to know how these people respond to questions, how they deal with the pressure of questioning, and this notion that somehow the only questioners should be conservative Republicans totally misunderstands the nature and the purpose of these debates.
Here's what I don't understand. They don't even answer the question that's asked. So what do they care what question is asked?
Well, but sometimes these questions do elicit some useful information. For instance, perfect example when that young woman from CNBC asked Dr. Carson about the implications of his tax plan. Ben Carson's never going to say, my tax plan is going to cost a deficit trillions of dollars, but how are people in St. Louis going to know what the implications are? You need independent journalists who hold them to account. And I agree with Chris Christie. He did not join the whiners. Christie said, if you can't take it, then how are you going to take running against Hillary Clinton? How are you going to take negotiating for America around the world? I think Christie is right. If you can't stand up to the questioning of CNBC or Megyn Kelly on Fox, you're not ready to be president.
Well, one of the criticisms, though, I think is legitimate is you ask somebody their tax plan, they have 60 seconds to explain it. How do you plan to explain a tax plan for 350 million people in 60 seconds?
Well, you're right about that, and I think at the core of a lot of the discontent with the debates is simply the fact that there are so many Republicans still running. When you have 10 people on a stage, I agree, it is very hard to have anybody talk in any length or any nuance about a policy. It puts a premium on zingers. It puts a premium on the outrageous comment that gets repeated. When you get to the next year and the fall debates, when you're going to have two candidates on the stage, it's going to be a very different feel. And to some extent, the Republicans are a victim of their own success because it's a sign of health in the Republican Party. They have so many candidates for president, but they are paying a price for it. And these debates are very crowded, and it is uncomfortable. But the bottom line here is, there is a role for independent journalists to hold these candidates to account. And this is equal opportunity. This is not just Republicans. They should be doing exactly the same thing to Democrats.
Going forward, are there going to be any major changes? What do you see going forward?
I'm not quite sure. I think a lot of this is working the refs. I think this is a lot of what the Republicans are trying to do is intimidate questioners in debates going down the road so that they don't get as tough questions. There might be some changes. For instance, the candidates all want opening statements because that's when they can basically deliver their commercials. And let's remember, one of the reasons why we're talking about this, McGraw, is that these debates have been very important and very popular. They've drawn huge audiences. Some people have really used the debates to rise in the polls, Rubio, Fiorina. Some have cratered as a result of poor performances, Jeb Bush, Scott Walker. So the stakes are pretty high here, and I think one of the things that the candidates most want is a platform to give their commercials at the beginning of the debates, and that's, I think, going to be their main demand.
Steve Roberts, ABC News, political analyst. You're the best in the business. Thanks for checking in.
Okay, my friend.
Stephen Roberts, 725, Big 550, KTRS, Diner Green, ladies and gentlemen.